All right, so this video here is going to be covering Robert Cialdini's concept of damaging admission. Now, a bunch of other people have also spoken on this concept here, but this is where I initially learned it from, and I've had a lot of success with this specific concept here. It is very powerful, so make sure to kind of stick around to the end because I show examples of Warren Buffett using it, how you could use it as a door-to-door salesman, how you could use it within copywriting, and how it's generally applicable within the info coaching world, so the world that I specifically live in here. And sorry if there's some background noise, but there's a bunch of cars going very fast. Actually, I think a motorcycle. But without further ado, just gonna get straight into the first slide here. And essentially what the trick is called damaging admission, like I've already essentially called it. And it may sound counterintuitive at first, but it's actually one of the most powerful persuasion tools. So the whole idea is, instead of pretending like you're perfect and you know like everything within the niche that you reside in, you essentially admit a weakness up front. So you literally tell people what you can't do or where you're not the best within that specific space. And it may feel risky at first, like you are essentially calling yourself bad, or like you are kind of framing yourself as you don't know what you're doing. But the second you do it, what you'll notice is your audience immediately stops seeing you as another shady salesperson and starts actually believing everything you say. So the trust that you kind of build up with that specific person there really goes up a lot. And I'm going to go into specifically why it works within this slide here. So here's why it works so well. When you volunteer a flaw, people essentially just think, wow, if they're willing to admit that, then the rest of what they're saying must be true too, because you are literally willingly telling them something that you're bad at. So that completely drops their sales guard, and then the trust that they have in you goes up completely. And this is especially like important nowadays, because people in whatever market you may be in are very sophisticated. They've already seen the majority of tactics. They're already very frustrated with it, and their trust isn't very high. So this specifically even works better within the modern times that we're living in now. But where did I leave off here? Yeah, and then the rest of what they're saying must be true too. So their guard goes down because you don't sound like you're trying to hide anything. It literally seems to them like you're an open book, and you're basically being 100% transparent with them. And once the guard is down, your strengths hit 10 times harder. So it flips you from sounding like you are pitching something into sounding like you're the real deal, essentially, and you're a complete open book. So here is an example of Warren Buffett using this principle here, which Robert Cialdini pointed out in his actual book, and was essentially showing how within his shareholder letters, even in years where his company crushed it, he always opened with a mistake that they made within their process. So he literally leads with something that went wrong, and because of that, when he talks about all their wins afterwards, the investors trust every single word of that specific letter, because he opened up with something that they did wrong, so their sales guard goes down, and then they literally like intrinsically trust him for the rest of the entire shareholder meeting. And they know what they're getting is the whole picture and not just a highlight reel of his best moments, essentially. So another example of a door-to-door salesman, this is another example he gave in his book. It's essentially a story about a fire alarm salesman, and before he even gives his pitch, he would basically say something along the lines of, oh shoot, I forgot my binder in the car. So this may seem like a small little thing or tactic that he implemented, but that little admission of imperfection made people like let him in and kind of trust him a little bit more, because he like basically like framed this like super embarrassing mistake, and suddenly in the eyes of the receiver of the pitch, he wasn't some slick salesman. They literally just saw him as a regular person they could trust a lot more than people who are coming in with like their suit fully dialed in, like their hair like fully like combed over and stuff like that. So yeah, it literally like increases like the trust so much. So that opened the door for the rest of the pitch that he gave them, and then his close rate was obviously a lot higher due to this little small thing that he was doing. So how this applies to the world of info coaching, this is where it gets especially powerful for people running coaching offers or like whatever it may be, even if it's a community. I just use coaching here because that's primarily what I specialize in. But pretty much imagine you are selling a program. Most people want to act like they can solve everything for everyone. So they want to act like the know-it-all. They want to look really cool in the eyes of everyone. They want to seem like they could do everything and they're super smart and all this stuff. But For most people, that is just simply not believable. People do not trust that, and this really raises like the suspiciousness level that they have with you. So instead, you could implement something along the lines of saying, look, I'm not a fit for everyone. If you're expecting me to run ads for you, that's not what I do. But if you want clarity on your offer and a system to help you land clients, that's where I can help. So admitting where you are not the expert and then reframing it into where you are actually the expert and you can provide value in, this will increase the trust with your audience a lot more. So you could obviously just kind of like modify this to whatever niche you're in. And this specific tactic of admission, the name completely slipped my mind, damaging admission. Yeah, so this specific tactic of damaging admission works within copywriting and sales. So whether you are speaking to someone over the phone or in person, this tactic works, or within copywriting messaging, so specific messaging, this also works because you never, because if you don't, I just want to put it this way, if you don't essentially admit the flaws in your product, people will look for every single one and they will find them eventually, because if people like really want to buy it but they're just suspicious, they will eventually find them and then they won't trust you anymore. But if you even just give them, let's say your product has 3 main flaws, but you even just give them one up front, they will stop looking for the rest. So it's a net positive either way for you. And then, yeah, like I've been saying a million times within this video, you do build up a lot of trust doing this. And then where did I leave off here? I think I left off here. And then right away, basically people feel like you're not trying to force them into something. You're drawing the line and making your strengths even more believable because of your admission of the niche that you're not specifically like an expert in. So yeah, pretty much the simple takeaway I want you to take away from this video is to admit a flaw first and then show your strength. So it's called damaging admission, and it's one of the fastest ways to build trust, whether you're writing copy, like I said, selling a coaching offer, or even just pitching yourself in person. And there's a fire truck in the background. Let me close my window. Okay, this is a primary example of damaging admission. I do not have the best recording setup. It was super loud right there. Okay, but yeah, people don't want to buy from a person who sounds perfect. They want to buy from someone who sounds real. And this is especially true in the age of AI now, where everyone, for example, on Twitter is writing AI content and there's no errors in the writing evermore. Everything sounds super perfect on the outside. People just like rawness, people like realness. And this is a trend that I have especially witnessed in the past few years, where people don't like super scripted stuff anymore. They want to buy from someone who sounds real and who they could trust. So yeah, that'll be it for this video. I'm going to end it off here, and hopefully you guys took something away from this video.